Information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
I am your president of law and order. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That message from President Trump was spoken in the Rose Garden last hour as flashbang devices went off in the background where a large group of protesters gathered at Lafayette Park. The president saying justice will be served for George Floyd's family, but their righteous cries can't be drowned out by an angry mob.
If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
The 7 p.m. curfew was put into effect in Washington, but demonstrators showed no sign of leaving. Presumptive 2020 Democratic nominee Joe Biden spoke to a group of community leaders in Delaware earlier today, blaming President Trump for the racial divide.
You haven't heard things said out loud 10 years ago. You hear it now. You haven't heard them said out loud. Why leave?
Yesterday, Biden visited a protest site in Wilmington. Louisville Police Chief Steve Conrad's been fired after the city's mayor learned that officers involved in a shooting early this morning that killed the owner of a restaurant failed to activate body cameras during the incident. Conrad had previously announced his resignation, which was to take effect at the end of the month. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has lifted Michigan's nearly 10 weeks coronavirus stay-at-home order, letting restaurants reopen to dine-in customers next week and immediately easing limits on outdoor gatherings while keeping social distancing rules intact. The governor moved regions comprising 93% of the state's population to phase 4, improving 2 weeks after she announced that northern Michigan could advance to that stage. On Wall Street, the Dow added 91 points, the NASDAQ plus 62, the S&P gained 11 points. America is listening to Fox News.
The last few months have taught us what's important in life. It's also
Wherever you are, make it Truth Frequency Radio.
Astronauts to the moon.
Ten, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show and we're in a snow globe and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Flat Earth Podcast. I'm your co-host for now, Matt Long, and with me as always is Dave from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Dave, you've done a couple excellent videos on the recent SpaceX launch, and I'm just curious, it seems like it might have been filmed on separate days. What do you think about that?
Oh, Matt, there's no doubt to it. It was so ridiculous, the 3 different skies, the different angles, the amount of smoke. How anybody could believe this is complete, utter nonsense.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. You could even see like buildings were on the different sides depending on which camera view you were looking on, and it was pretty amazing. And they had the Falcon rocket, right? The Falcon 9 land on the barge, right? And that just seems impossible. What tell me about that.
40,000 pounds landing on a barge. There should be a tidal wave that comes out from underneath that thing. It should tip over. I don't think a person could stand on that thing.
Well, yeah, and of course, you missed the actual landing, right? They put a screen up where you couldn't see the landing.
Of course, they always cut out standard, same thing. I actually wanted to compare this launch to previous launches. I think they use the same smoke.
You know what? You're probably right. It's probably enough on that topic. We've got some fans that leave us some speak pipes, and why don't we check one of those out?
Oh, okay. Got one right here.
Check 1, 2. Okay. So I studied flat Earth for about 4 months and ended up abandoning it because of two things that stopped me from believing in it. The first thing is Sigmund Octantis and the fact that there's a swirl of stars in the southern hemisphere, seeming to suggest that we're on a ball. And the other thing is that there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and there are videos of that. So if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, then, the Earth can't be flat. So those two things have yet to be shown otherwise for me. So those are my questions, if you can answer them. Thanks.
Well, those are two great questions, and Dave, I want to get your thoughts on them. But we've got a few guests on the show that I will also want to hear from. We've got Jeran, we've got Rose 777, we've got Jason Lindgren. So, Dave, who do you think may be the best qualified to answer this one?
Jeran is very good at that. Jeran, what do you think of that question? The 24-hour sun on Antarctica and the rotation around Cygnus Octantis or whatever it's called?
So far, I think it's the best flat Earth podcast I've ever heard. That much I'll say without a doubt, and it makes my job a lot easier. So
welcome to the show, Jeran.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and thank you guys for joining us. It is the Flat Earth Podcast with your host for now, Matt Long, and David Weiss. So what is the question? I was just enjoying some of the gravy. Now the question is the Southern Star. This is the reason this person doesn't believe in flat Earth, and of course the 24-hour daylight in Antarctica. Now, again, you can go look and find some videos where they superimpose the directions over it, and you can clearly see layering. You can also see the classic video where the beginning and the end, the clouds match up perfectly, telling you that it's not at all a 24-hour video.
If they fake it, then it's not real.
Yeah, why would they fake it? No, and then why would they cut off the video? I've showed that a ton of times. The South Pole cameras supposedly they have down there, and you can go to the site and you can pull it up, and then they show you about 12 hours of every day and cut off the other 12. And I tried to call them and ask, what's going on here? Why do you have this set up this way? Can we get a full day? And they said, no, we don't have enough bandwidth to give you the full day, even though it's supposed to be videos showing you the 24-hour sun.
Classic. What's so amazing about that? The Foucault pendulum, they say they've done one at the South Pole. Well, they actually had to extrapolate 95% of it because it stopped swinging after about 20 minutes.
May I recommend Crow's Law of HD here?
Yeah, please.
I use it all the time. Go ahead, Jason.
If it can be filmed in HD, it will be filmed in HD. Why? Because everybody's walking around with a freaking, now we're up to 4K with a lot of these phones. It used to be a 1080p phone with a camera on it. And how many people don't have one? I mean, let's be serious here, right?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Jeran.
I was just saying it should be quite easy. I mean, your phone has time-lapse capabilities, and now even $900 cameras, $800 cameras are all set up for you. Maybe you need a battery pack.
Right. Hey, and I figured out the most convincing, which is still the worst, 24-hour sun video from Antarctica is the one where the sun goes around remaining the exact same height off the horizon all the way around, which means that they'd have to be at the exact South Pole for that to happen, which I don't believe that those buildings that they're showing are at the South Pole. But I figured out how they did it, and I'm going to recreate it with my green screen. I just need to go outside and do maybe an hour time lapse where I slowly spin the camera around so the clouds are changing, and then I could put the sun right in.
Nice. Or Matt can do it there where there's a lot of snow, and we can call it the South Pole.
That sounds terrific. I've done that once, and it worked out really well.
All right, well, we've got it. That's the end of episode number. What number are we up to?
I'm not sure, but it's 2 a year now, so it's going to be easier to count from here forward.
All right, and here we go with our outro song, and we're out.
Yeah, just want to thank our guests for joining us.
Impressive show. Really, it's probably the best Flat Earth podcast I've ever heard. So
we had some good. It's all about the people.
I may have missed a few of the facts you guys, so I'll listen back tomorrow, as I'm sure.
We will be uploading this to SoundCloud after I download it, after it resolves on YouTube.
Right. Well, good. Hey, that was good.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Jeran had no idea. No one had any idea except Matt and me that we were going to do that. Thought it was fun. I was really nervous, so I tell you, I broke out in a sweat.
Well, so did I, because I didn't know where the sound was coming from. Like, what the hell is going on? What tab do I have open? Why is this sound?
I heard you like adjusting the volumes. You turn it up and down again. I'm like, all right, that's funny.
It is pretty funny. You gave me a mini heart attack. Thank you, Rhino, for the super chat. He says, "Love me some Jeranism RAW during martial law." So
I just got an emergency alert on my phone a few minutes ago about mandatory curfew in New York City, because I'm right next to New York, from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. You know what? It's 11 p.m. Go home. I'm okay with that. Nothing really good happens after 11. Is it my old?
Yeah.
They say.
Oh, is that Rose? How dare you? How dare you?
What about the 24-hour pizza shops?
There's no such thing as a 24-hour pizza shop.
What? In New York? In Manhattan?
Oh, no, I'm thinking in Antarctica. Sorry.
It's a hoax.
All right, it's fake video. I've seen it. It's layered.
All right, and just one last point. There is 24-hour daylight, dusk, and we've demonstrated that using the glass dome and the light in it. It makes perfect sense. And a domed world.
And it's been filmed in HD.
It kind of has.
I agree with the chat. We have episode number 213 today, which is 33 Illuminati confirmed. So I'm giving devil signs with my hand right now as we speak. So it's good for that. We also, Rose joining the show. Rose, how are you? Sorry that you've been not allowed to speak. It's Dave's fault.
I don't feel that I was not allowed. I was just listening. I thought I was on the wrong show. I was really confused, in shock. I don't like surprises, so that was a good prank on me.
I was going to call you, but I'm like, nah, I'm just going to do it.
I like surprises when I'm involved in them. Usually the surprise that happens is Dave will call me and say, come join the podcast, and pop in halfway through and pretend like you were there the whole time. But I don't like when I am the butt of the joke.
That was too much for me, because first you weren't here, and so I accepted it. And I went through the whole process of acceptance and negotiating and bargaining, and then you were here, and it was just so I had to go through that. And
God,
now
I'm sending people to therapy, Matt. People are going to need therapy after what we just did. The lockdown has really made people sensitive. It's
Some people in the chat were asking,
very sensitive,
who is standing in for Jeran, and I almost just left. I was like, hey, maybe it's a week off for me. All right, I like it. Matt is standing in for me. I'll be seeing you guys next week. No.
Oh, but you really go? Okay. Oh gosh.
No, we've all done many shows in a row at this point. I mean, it's just never ending. We were supposed to do our show on Wednesday, and then Elon Musk got defeated by clouds and lightning, and then we had a Thursday show. We had the Friday Lounge, very contentious. Rose, did you catch the contentious Friday Lounge where we talked about your favorite subject, the Mandela effect?
Yeah, of course I caught it. I thought it was awesome, and I just love hearing different people talk about it, because we don't have any definitive proof of what exactly is going on. So I just love exploring all of the different possibilities. And by the way, I just wanted to say that it's very nice to meet you, Matt. This is the first time that we have spoken or been on the same show together. And so I just wanted to say officially, hello.
Yeah, thanks for coming on our show. We really appreciate it. You know, my latest Mandela effect is I remember a time when people could walk around without masks and not standing 6 feet apart. Does anybody else remember that?
I don't remember that.
Nope, me neither.
Okay.
It's like I think about that one.
That one's like Chick-fil-A. You don't really know.
You know, the not wearing a mask thing has really become a sign for me. Like I would take a bullet before I'd put a mask on at this point, because the putting a mask on for me is giving up everything that I've come, you know, that I've said. It just would be giving up everything, and I just cannot do it.
Agreed. I am exactly the same way. At this point, I feel pretty stubbornly religious about it. It won't happen. It's like when you get to jail and you look around and you're like, oh gosh, I don't want anything crazy, that the stereotypical things that you're afraid of happening in jail, and you're just like, can't let it happen. I can't.
Hey Matt, tell everyone about your mask experience when you flew to the United States and back the other day.
Sure. So I flew on American Airlines, which if you go on their website, it says a mask is required unless you're a young child or you're not able to wear one. So I went to stoplookthink.com and downloaded some of the language there and kind of made my own little form that had the one side talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act, how I have a condition that doesn't allow me to wear a mask, and you're not allowed to ask what that condition is, or I do not have to tell you. And it worked well. I went up to the counter and said, hey, just want to make sure this is not going to be an issue. And I showed him on the back of my card the blurb from American Airlines saying that those people that weren't able to wear a mask didn't have to wear one. He looked very confused at first, and then he let the crew know, and I had to show my card a couple times. It was pretty easy. I was the only one on the plane that wasn't wearing a mask, and they even announced over the speaker about how they weren't doing food service anymore, and to make sure to be courteous to those people that were not able to wear a mask. So everyone was very courteous to me. And I did it on the way back, going back into Canada, same thing. Canada's a little more stringent than Texas is. Texas has lifted a lot of its stuff. And on the way back, like I never wore a mask the whole time. And anytime anyone asked me, I just said I'm not able to wear one. And it was always a confusing situation for the person that I was talking to, always. But I just had to explain it. And yeah, I just said, I've got a condition that predates COVID, and my doctor's not cleared me to wear a mask, which is all true. And the condition just happens to be wokeness.
Nice.
Hey, Matt, if you don't mind
Yes,
sharing, what was the reaction? Did you get any reaction from you not wearing a mask? Like, did people have like bug eyes freaking out? Like, oh my God, he's not wearing a mask. Like, what was the general social response you got from that?
I felt like Tom Brady walking around with 6 Super Bowl rings on, just like everyone was like, oh, look at that. Just man, No, not really. I mean, it's amazing that not the person that wasn't wearing the mask. That's right. That's right. It's amazing that the person that wasn't wearing the mask felt awkward, right? I'm the outcast because I don't have a mask on, which is so strange. But I got no pushback from any other travelers or anything like that. I didn't really feel like I was being eyeballed. If anything, I felt like people were kind of wondering how I wasn't wearing one. And I did bring extras with me if anyone asked, but no one ever asked. So
extra cards, not masks.
That's right, extra cards. That's correct.
When Paige and I are walking around our beach, beautiful day, breezy, and there's people, riding bikes, even running, people, walking. Not the last week, it's been a lot less people, but we'll see a couple together, a man and a woman, and the man's wearing a mask and the woman isn't. And I would imitate what's going on in the woman's mind, going, how could I ever sleep with him again? I just can't do it anymore. Because it just looks so ridiculous. The mask is what? It's
such a
mask
small
is emasculating.
Thing.
Absolutely.
Yes. All this I can't breathe stuff going on, right? I mean, it's just very interesting timing. A mask is such a small thing to say no to, but if you're not going to say no to the small things, man, it's going to be really hard for you to say no to the big things.
Yep.
It really is a big thing, because by you putting a mask on, you're agreeing to all of the COVID nonsense. But if you put it on, you're buying their story and you are helping their plan. I cannot put a mask on.
Yeah, it's true. And getting on the plane, coming back, there were some certain forms that I needed to fill out, like whether I had symptoms and things like that. But nothing was ever printed where I had to put my signature. I'm not saying I lied, but nothing was official. It was all weird, like it looked like last minute type forms that had been printed up. So everyone's like covering their bums and just very, very strange. Nothing really official. Again, typically the sign of telling the truth is having to sign your signature next to something, and nothing of the forms that I had to sign required that. It was almost like they want to see if you're going to participate in it. They're not requiring it.
Matt, was it a full flight, and was there anybody sitting next to you, or how did they have the flight spaced out?
They actually upgraded him to first class. I bet people would be willing to try it if that was the case.
Oh, you're not an idiot? Right this way.
So on the way down, first of all, there is no social distancing in a plane. They're selling all their seats, right? Okay. There is no social distancing. On the way down, I was riding,
especially if you're doing a protest. Sorry.
Right. Or if you're willing to spend $400 on a plane ticket, you don't have to social distance. It's totally cool. So on the way down, I rode with my daughter, and it was probably 75% full. And on the way back, it was maxed out, the full flight.
People getting out of the USA.
Right. And I had to sit next to a guy who had a mask on, and, he didn't say one word to me. And I respected it. You can't even understand people with masks on anyways. You can't see their lips moving. It's hard to tell what someone is saying. So it was just very strange. And it was the hardest it's ever been to get back into Canada, because normally I'm coming back in and say that my wife lives in Canada and my daughter's here. And this time it was very tough, kind of proving that it was an essential visit. And, they wanted my marriage license and things like that, stuff that I didn't bring, though I had access to, so I could show and eventually get out of there. But it was, man, it felt like communism, felt like a concentration camp, having to go through Alberta Health on the way out, which is kind of like this region's version of the CDC. And I was probably asked 10 times. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I was probably asked 10 times to put on a mask, and all 10 times had to have the awkward conversation of I'm not able to wear one. So, and in Canada, it's harder to reference an American law. So I would never reference the ADA when I was in Canada. I just insisted that I was not able to wear one that had not been cleared by my doctor. And only one nurse that I came in contact with actually took what I said and said, "Oh, okay, you're not able to wear one, right this way." And I went where everybody else was going. But everyone else was kind of like, you could see their eyes go weird and started to get that kind of glazed over fluoride look that Dave talks about.
Right.
So,
and nobody made it was of asking you what your ailment was.
Somebody did. Someone was like, "What is it, like COPD?" And that's when I just defaulted to it's a condition that predates COVID, and I never offered up anything.
Good. Well,
yeah.
I wish we didn't have to do that, but I don't know what else you can do. I mean, they're not going to take the answer of I'm just not wearing one. That probably wouldn't have gone over.
Right. In the U.S., it's way easier to just have that card and hand it over. You don't even have to say a word if you don't want to. But the card adds a little bit of credibility. In Canada, I didn't want to be the guy that was like the U.S. citizen who was standing on the Constitution on the wrong side of the border, right? So I had to talk a little bit more than I would have had to in the United States.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like I stood up for what was right, and I don't feel like I had to compromise, right? You always get that sickening feeling when you have to compromise.
The reason I ask that is because I am starting to understand that the elite, when they see us put masks on and we succumb to that, we really are humiliating ourselves and giving them the power, and they are feeling that power. They're taking that power. When they're humiliating us, they're looking at us and they're like, yeah, we got them. And it's a spiritual, energetic war that we're in, and the mask is a big part of it.
I agree. It's almost, if you can picture a video game and you've got like two guys fighting each other, and maybe like this little power up thing building on either side, the mask is part of that transfer of power, energy. Totally agree.
This is a perfect opportunity for people to not wear a mask. Let's say if you are wearing a mask because you're forced to at your job, you can redeem yourself spiritually by going on an airplane. In fact, come on an airplane with me, and I would love for you to join, David. Wouldn't it be amazing to be on an airplane, or to go shopping together at the supermarket together, David, and just look at all these specimens?
I was just thinking about that.
You were?
If we got a whole bunch of people to go together, and just overwhelm a store.
Yeah, an airplane. But we should take an airplane to go to a grocery store across the country just to prove a point. Just we're all going to show ourselves together, outnumber them for once.
Hey, did you hear that Fauci just announced that he's only allowing 10 people at a time in a store when they're looting? So all the rioters, 10 people at a time when you're looting.
That does happen.
And you have to wear a mask. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But it's not 100% necessary, but you have to. But it won't help you, or protect anybody else, but it will.
Where's the irony in people wearing masks at a protest that then turns violence? Like, I'm cool with throwing a Molotov cocktail and burning your place down, but I'll be sure to keep my mask on the whole time to not pass you my germs, because I care.
Well, I think most people there are wearing them to protect their identity. But what's funny is they're sending smoke bombs and tear gas or whatever, and people are inhaling that through the mask. I think a virus could definitely get through the mask. I mean, if you're getting affected by what they're spraying out there, how is it going to protect you from a virus?
I'm confident that you are correct, David.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Lincoln Sharp sent a super chat, says, hey guys, interesting how 12 months ago the Amazon made headlines burning, late last year Australia burnt, now USA is on fire. Just a thought, love the show. Yeah, what happened to the Amazon fires? That all went away? What happened to COVID, really? It's like, what virus? I think people have very short memories.
Break out the race war.
Yeah.
Speaking of the race war, did you see the breakdown of the cops in New York City lighting their own van on fire?
Your video? I mean, Baller Dave's video?
Not my video.
Why said
everybody confuse me with him?
Because you have the same name. It gets confusing.
Did you watch that? Is there any question that it wasn't the cops that lit that van, and that van wasn't stocked with some explosives and a lot of liquid fuel?
No, it certainly appears that. But I mean, the reason I think that is because I'm just finding video after video, and it's kind of overwhelming the amount of stuff you're seeing now. I mean, just cop cars pulling up with bricks in the back. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
You've got cop cars parked on the side while people are spray painting windows, and the cops are just standing there watching the person spray paint windows. We've seen cars drive up handing bricks out the door to black people and inciting them to throw them. And of course, there's videos of people just getting pissed and putting the brick back in the car, saying, "What the hell are you doing?" It's just nonsense. It's constant. And you see that guy with the umbrella knocking out windows. Certainly seems like they're all agent provocateurs. So it doesn't. I don't put it past them to light their own cars.
On the burning van, the fire truck comes and drives right by. I mean, they could have put it out with a quick squirt of a handheld fire extinguisher, but they just drives by and lets it go.
Did you see who was driving the fire truck, Dave?
No, I did not. Who was that?
It was David Hogg. If you zoom in, it's David Hogg.
I want tyranny.
He was angry. I agree. He was angry.
Hey, I would like to make the suggestion that perhaps this riot thing as a whole is a big social engineering experiment to see How will people react when we throw another big thing at them after really stomp them down really hard for the past couple months?
Let's talk about that a little bit more when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Jeranism RAW, take calls.
As if we're really just born to die. I'd rather let been born. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being on TV looks pretty.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured TruthFrequencyRadio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality.
Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up.
Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection
From deception.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to Jeranism RAW, I believe, or it could be the Flat Earth Podcast, which is the second best Flat Earth podcast that there is. And I'm here with you. And Jason, you were talking before the break about looking at this as a social experiment, possibly, which I think it's going to get even more interesting now. I mean, didn't the report come back today that now this George Floyd character supposedly had fentanyl in his system and died from a heart attack? Are they going to say it's an overdose? I don't know where this is going. And of course, we already talked earlier, but maybe didn't make it clear that Trump has announced as of about an hour ago that be ready, the military's coming in.
I already died of COVID.
Well, they already had the military ready, didn't they? Because of the whole beer bug nonsense. They've been having that ready for months now.
Yeah, it just seems like a perfect. And again, it's funny because if you keep everybody cooped up in their house for months, and then there's some event that allows them to go out and act a little crazy, especially when you got people who have lost their jobs and don't have work and have nowhere to be. All of a sudden, I think it's a recipe for disaster. So,
to say the least.
Yeah, if it's a social experiment, people are not doing well, and we have to have internal control. And I'm not really seeing a lot of that. But again, how much of it is just agent provocateurs? I don't know. I don't think those are all agents inside a Target.
I have a question. So the video that shows the cops lighting their van on fire, there's only one reason to do that, is to incite a riot from a protest. It is to incite violence. So the police are caught lighting a van on fire. Okay, their own van that has extra fuel in it. The fire department is caught on camera standing down and letting it burn, and actually the building started to catch on fire. And no word in the mainstream. No one's covering it. Nobody cares. I mean, the elite are taking power from that. My question is, with all the cops that are involved, they cordoned off that street. They were calm, cool. No one even thought about putting the fire out when it was a little fire. How come there's no whistleblowers? How come a cop won't come out and say, yeah, we were told to do that, I was part of it? Why? Because they'd get killed, or they're a fraternity?
Certainly lose their job, number one.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, because I have a friend who's a police officer, that's not how most of them are. So the ones that are willing to go along with this kind of stuff, they must, I don't know, I'm just speculating. But it must be some kind of like, okay, these are the cats that will do the crazy stuff. The rest of them are just beat cops, go out and do their job. And by the way, there's a couple other things I can tell you about that. For one, the body cameras do not fail. If a body camera fails, there's a major problem, and that police officer will get questioned up and down 3 ways from Sunset and possibly get suspended without pay and risk getting fired. So every time you hear this nonsense about the body cams failed, it's a load of poppycock.
Do all cops wear body cams now?
I think they do now.
To my knowledge, well, I know all the ones here do.
There's no way.
I told our friend that he should move his chest away from people if they're smoking weed and just walk in a different direction. Because I said, come on, you don't want to give tickets to people for smoking a plant. And he was just like, oh, but the body cam. And I'm like, well, then just move your body in a different way.
But that's the whole point. The damn thing's always on. He's not controlling it. Like, the officer is not controlling it, whomever it is, Here's the second part. They've just been spending better part of 2+ months telling people about social distancing, staying apart, wear masks, all this crazy crap that the next human being next to you is going to get everyone deathly ill and spread this giant thing. But hey, now people are gathered in mass next to each other, perspirating and spitting, flying up a storm, jumping up and down, screaming their heads off, all right next to each other, and it doesn't friggin' matter one bit. That's a hell of a social experiment.
I mean, this allow them to, within a week and a half, let's say, start to say all the numbers are spiking again. Here comes the second wave because of the protests.
Yeah.
Could happen. Dave, are you ready for the second wave?
The winter of pain, I believe some people are calling it. The summer of confusion and the winter of pain.
Well, there's a lot of confusion right now because there's so much, and you can't find any real reporting anymore. So you have to go to these independent journalists like Baller Dave and Lincoln Kareem and these other guys, and that's where you see the truth in it. I mean, everything I'm seeing shows me that there's something up. There's people out there who want to make this look really bad. I don't know if they're trying to make the black community, if they're basically using them as pawns, aren't they?
It makes me sad because I feel like I can see things and I don't know if other people can see it, but it just is so contrived and so predictable. And it just makes me sad to imagine that so many people, these masses of people could fall for it. I know people who've shown up at the protests thinking that they're having an independent thought. And I just want to point out to everyone, just really, really think about, where are your thoughts coming from? Are they coming from the television? Or are they coming from within? I mean, I don't think that people are realizing that they are being completely programmed and that their behavior is predictable. And I think that there's people that have been seeing this stuff coming for such a long time. I was talking to Kurt Kallenbach about this social contract, this treatise that was written by Rousseau, and how Voltaire made him look like this idiot, but all he was really doing was saying that it doesn't make any sense for royalty to have authority. You know, they said that they had divine right, and so he was ridiculed for saying that should be, you know, thought about a little bit more. And Jason, you were talking about how a lot of cops are just doing their jobs, and I just feel so strongly, I know you're probably going to roll your eyes at me, but I just have to point out that I just think that order following is the root of all of the problems that we face. And I would like to imagine a world where if there was a job that we called police, you know, in a voluntary society, if everyone took personal responsibility for their actions and held each other accountable, and everyone always did the right thing, if no one ever took an unlawful order, if no one ever followed an order that was wrong, you know, then things would be so different.
It'd be perfect, really. That's right. The hard part.
Well, that's an idyllic society, and sadly, we're just not there yet. I'm not saying that's not a great idea. That's a wonderful idea. But as I always say when I get into these discussions about anarchy, true anarchy meaning that everybody just governs themselves and everyone's kosher with each other, that's like 7 steps down the road.
Yeah, it's like saying everyone grow up already at the same time.
Exactly. That's what it needs to be. Everyone needs to grow up. I mean, come on, let's just be honest here. There are too many freaking assholes in the world still.
Right.
Well, I just hope that anarchy isn't as hard as space. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, hey, look at looting and really, you know, explore that. What is looting? And looting is the theft of merchandise when there is no fear of arrest. That's the thing that scares me about looting, is it's like, well, so these people are okay with it. They don't have an internal control. There should be internal control that, you know, if I'm walking down the street and I see Target left their front door open, and I know there's no cameras, and I know there's no security, and there's no way I'm going to get caught, I have to have the internal control to know that it's not okay for me to steal from them. Now, I guess looting tells me that you don't have that internal control.
I'm always been of the mind that you, even if you're kind of thick-brained and your brain doesn't work that well, I think deep down inside, I think everybody knows the difference between right and wrong. There's some really basic things. Is it nice to take someone else's property that is not yours just because you damn well feel like it? I think everybody knows that's wrong. It's just how much they justified themselves to not give a shit and do it anyway.
Right. The big 4 they talk about, right? Murder, theft, rape, assault. I mean, those should be clear violations of a society, any society, because there's nothing that allows any of those things to happen. Murder is obviously going and ending the life of somebody else, and theft is obviously the removal of somebody's property that is not wanted by them. Rape, of course, is sex without consent, and assault is the same thing. I mean, so those are the big 4, and if we can't agree to maintain those, so I guess my question is, and I don't know where to go with this, but what is the correct response here? What would we expect people to do? And again, this is all agent provocateurs. I'm not even sure the event happened.
The timing on this, I mean, they have set this up perfectly. They had us locked down. They have people broke. They have you know, they ran this into the summer, not into the winter, because in the winter people are less likely to protest. They want us in the streets, so they're doing it when it's not too cold, it's not too hot. It's the perfect time of year to start a riot because people will go outside. People are at the end of the ropes. And then, you know, we're seeing all these stories where they're dropping off pallets of bricks. Well, that's real. We're seeing the cops burning their car and making it explode. Why people are calling them out? They're like, "You did this." If you watch that video, they're inciting these riots. So how do you get these protesters to realize that they're all being manipulated? They're all being yeah. And the other thing is they're also mixing it up. They're doing these things that I just talked about, and then they're also putting stories out there, videos out there of crazy stuff. Like, have you seen it where the cops are running down the street going, "Get in the house, get in the house," and then one family is standing out there, and then they got shot with rubber bullets?
Yeah,
not real.
Insane.
That is not real. That is the same formula that they did in Boston, where they had the family outside and they're like, "Get in the house." Where they came and they forced their way into the house. Same.
I thought it seemed fake too, because they were standing out there like a deer in the headlights, acting like they wouldn't be scared of them being yelled at by all those cops.
And
they
then
didn't
they went
go in
inside.
fast enough.
Right. You don't see any faces except the kid's face, who has a huge face mask on, so there's no identity. If your kid was shot by a rubber bullet by cops running down the road, would you act anything like those parents did? Not a chance. Not a friggin' chance. And then at the end of the video, there's no name, there's no interviews, there's no mainstream media, there's nothing. That is a fake story. There was one scene where the cops were smashing their own car. They're all the cops were around their own car and they're smashing it. That is also a setup. They can come out with a whole bunch of stories. They could say there was somebody in the car trying to steal it and they were trying to get him out. They could say they were doing a training exercise. If they wanted to smash up a car and blame it on protesters, they would smash it up in a garage. Then they would drive it to the protest and nobody would know where that car came from. They'd be like, "Oh my God, it must have gotten smashed up around the corner." They wouldn't do it in front of 500, 4K cameras.
Dave, can I ask a question? Because this is something that I still don't get. Okay, if the video of them shooting, and it wasn't rubber bullets, they shot them with paint guns. And,
all right, same. Well, that's what I meant. I don't know whatever they shot.
Goes inside and shows that their pants are covered in paint or whatever. Yeah. But that's just a cell phone video. So here's my confusion. If that video was shot by mainstream media, then you would say that's a fake video because mainstream media shot it. So in this case, there is no mainstream media. It's just cops walking down the street in one cell phone camera. And you're saying it's a fake video because there's no mainstream.
Jared, not because there's no mainstream. If that happened to you, you wouldn't act like that. But let's say you did act like that.
What would I act like? What would I act like if I went out on the porch and the cops shot me with? I would go back inside and say, "Everybody get inside. We just got shot by paint guns."
You would? Would you go to the? Would you call the police? Who do you call? Would you go to them? Try to go to the local media? Would you do something? Those names. We would know who those people are by now. We would know who those people are. Again, they do these things. They're testing the waters. They're getting us used to the idea. I mean, 5 years ago, if we saw that video, the entire world would freak out. But now it's like, that's kind of normal. I've seen it. The people that they're acclimating us to it. They're testing the waters, and we are failing miserably.
Right. Well, let me throw two more logs on that fire. One, perhaps they're doing this let's incent a riot kind of thing because people were too cowed down during COVID. Like people just didn't, in mass, get uppity like they wanted them to do. So now they're doing this nonsense. Here's the second one. They're probably playing with the truth community like mad. So
absolutely. That's exactly what they're doing, Jason. I mean, they want somebody in the truth community to fire back. That's what they want. But you know what? They don't even need to do it. Trump's already calling out the military. Is that nationwide or is that just in Minneapolis? Where is he doing that? Well, or was that, again, another test story where they're threatening to do it?
Could be. It was basically a threat. It was, tonight's the last night. If anybody stays out past curfew and the local governments don't do a good job at protecting cities and public places and churches like they have done the last 5 days, then he's going to call in the military. So it was kind of a threat more than anything. Right.
I don't know. That video of the cops setting the van on fire filled with fireworks and gas, that's the nail in the coffin. I wish somebody could get that on the mainstream media. I gave it to InfoWars, and they won't even touch it. I mean, Alex is just like 2 seconds. He barely even touched it.
Touched what exactly?
Touched that story that the cops are inciting riots by lighting their cars on fire themselves, and the people there are calling them out. If you listen, there's 2 people screaming at the cops, "You did this," but you don't even need those people. You could watch it in silence, and you can see that the cops made sure that it was on fire. Okay, all right, it's taking. Let's walk to the end of the street, clear the street. They did it pretty safe, and the fire engine stood down. Makes no sense.
Has Alex Jones been castrated? Because 15 years ago, this is the stuff he screamed about the most.
Yeah, he has been castrated. I heard he has a micro penis anyway, so.
Who'd you hear that from? His wife, probably? Ex-wife?
I was talking about it.
There's also, you saw that, I mean, there's just so many agent provocateurs out there that it's hard for me to even say, is it the cops doing it themselves, or is it these guys doing it? I mean, there's people that I showed the video on Friday, and I could show the video now, of a guy who's going around and paying people at these protests to do different things. So could they have paid somebody, hey, go light that cop car on fire? I guess it would be the same result, right?
But it was the cops that did it. And then also, it looks like there was 2 guys that were there filming that were involved, but you really can't tell. But if you just look at that, the cops are standing around the car, and they lit it. And when there was a tiny little fire that they probably could have put out with a shoe, but they didn't. They waited for it. They waited for it to catch on fire. Then they calmly walked into the streets. They didn't even look back most of the time. They just had their backs, just made sure everyone was off the street, and they let that thing burn and explode. Exploded like 7 times. It's insane. It's literally. It's insane, and how anybody can see that and say, "Oh, well, whatever," or "I don't see it." I don't get it. I don't get it. That should be on the main story on every news channel if the news was real, but we know that it's not.
We know that goes.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part about it. Is like I said, you can't watch the mainstream media with this. You have to go to these independent journalists, and if there's barely any of them left, it's basically people with iPhones on Twitter. That's where you're going to get your media at this point.
Yep. Hey, shifting back to SpaceX, can I ask you a question?
I was about to do that.
So the rocket goes up, stage 1, spewing out all that fuel, flying up, and then it jettisons that big 40,000-pound tube. Okay, where's the fuel that's stopping its descent? I mean, when you watch. Where does it still have fuel? I mean, it's like a hollow tube when it disconnects.
Is that the part that gets reused?
The part that lands upright like a pencil on a floating raft.
Right. Yeah. Right. The reusable part of it.
Yeah, but that has enough fuel to stop its descent and stabilize it. Where is that fuel?
That's what they would say. They tell you half of it gets it up there and the other half allows it to land, or it would probably be more of a percentage. 20%.
They don't use parachutes at all?
No. And Dave, you also asked the question of what happened.
I didn't realize that. That's funny because you're right. That's a lot of force that it'd have to work against.
Oh, I've talked about it before. I don't know how anybody can believe that because it's 40,000 pounds. And I always use the example of a Toyota Celica or something that's 2,500 pounds. And if you were to drop that car off the Empire State Building, and again, that's not miles high like this thing is. This is just, 1,500 feet high, whatever. If you were to drop that, think of the amount of force that would need to be expelled from the bottom of that car to keep it from hitting the ground, to have it slow down and land nicely. Well, the rocket is 40,000 pounds, even empty.
Land nicely in a specific spot, too.
Right. It's just absurd. And do I think that they land something? Yeah, maybe, but it's a balloon. It's a very hollow-shelled aluminum something, and maybe that's what lands when it lands on the ground. I don't know. I haven't seen enough footage to even know that that's legit. It might just be everybody who films it films from so far away that they would have no idea if it's just some balloon that's dropped right before.
Well, we could just go watch it. Oh, wait, it's out in the middle of the ocean. Sorry.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we can see it.
By the way, when I was growing up and I was really into space everything, I remember them directly saying that there's no viability to landing a rocket. That's not the point of a rocket. A rocket is supposed to be a one-time thing. The closest thing they could get was the space shuttle, but to my knowledge...
That's before they had recycling. We didn't recycle cans back then.
Yeah, the people in the Birkenstocks didn't come out after us yet. But if I recall correctly, didn't the boosters on the space shuttle have parachutes to come back down?
Yeah, and then they landed in the ocean. They
landed in the ocean, didn't they? Or am I like totally?
That's correct.
Misremembering things.
Yeah, and I've never understood the whole price. Oh, this is cheaper to do what? I mean, isn't the majority of the price the fuel? I mean, it doesn't seem to me like the rocket itself would be that much cost. Like you're saving that much by landing it. But again, I don't know. And reusing it.
Just
the cost,
wasteful. How dare you?
Right. The original justification for creating the space shuttle was to have a reusable thing so that they weren't having to build and build and build because everything was getting burned up and thrown away for nothing, just one shot,
Right.
The space shuttle had parachutes. The external fuel tank falls and burns up like into dust, and the space shuttle lands like a plane, and it has parachutes after it lands.
Yeah, but the fuel tank comes. Oh wait, maybe you're saying the same thing. Yeah, the fuel tank, the orange piece, right? There's 2 rockets on the side of that would come back and.
And those parachute down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not. I mean, so it's like you said, Dave. The second stage, right? So we see the first stage disconnect, and then we see the little pod that the people are supposedly in. That disconnects from the second stage, and then do you know what happens to that second stage?
No. Oh, it must burn up. Yeah, that was another question.
Convenient.
It burns up because it's a little higher. And then also the whole thing, before we run out of time, the controversy with the mouse. I have 2 theories on the mouse. One was they did it because something was in there last time and they're just making it more confusing, giving us something to argue about back and forth that we can never prove. And the thought of that it's being done in a warehouse and a mouse climbed in there, that's interesting. But why would they need to do that? They can film this stuff months in advance. Like the guys getting on the ISS today, that could have been filmed weeks ago. Why does it have to be filmed today? The guys are here on Earth. They're in a studio somewhere. That could be filmed whenever. And then the question and answer, we don't know who's asking those questions. I mean, the whole mouse thing. Maybe the question and answer
part.
Was
old footage from a different time.
No, that was from this one. This was another mouse, but it looks less like a mouse. Everyone's just assuming it's a mouse because the last one looked like a mouse.
Right, the last one was a mouse.
I think that is done on purpose because this is what it does. It gets all of the people that are aware of the deception fighting over a mouse or not that they can never prove. That story never makes it to the normies who have no idea that there's a deception. And the ones that are kind of like, wait, is there a conspiracy? Let me look. Oh, they're saying there's a mouse. Ha, ha, ha. And they walk away. I mean, it does nothing but gatekeep us and scare any newbies away. So I think it's done on purpose.
Yeah, I agree. It's just too easy for them to put something out like that and then people comment on it. And then all of a sudden it makes anybody looking into it seem crazy. I saw Brooks Agnew talking about it on the show before this one on TFR. He said, have you seen them saying that there's a mouse? So it just allows people like that to just dismiss it in whole.
Exactly. So, and the other thing was during when they're on their way up, did you see when they had the internal shot and there was the dinosaur floating by?
Right.
Yeah. And they go, of course, a dinosaur, right? Another mocking. And they're like, look, a 0G detector, because they always have some stupid stuffed animal floating to be 0G. I just popped a picture in chat. I took a little screenshot. I was trying to find it on the internet. It's a Mylar helium balloon. It's a dinosaur Mylar balloon. I found a whole bunch of similar ones, but it is a Mylar balloon.
Yeah, it does look like that with the wrinkly part.
It does. Let me bring it up for people.
And so it's floating by, and the guy is like, he's not looking at it, but he's carefully with his hand trying to bump it so it floats in front of the camera. It's so awkward. Right. And then it floats by. It's a Mylar helium balloon. I gave away the secret, but I'm probably going to get one for my next live stream.
And think how easy it would be to find something that's a perfect size and perfect weight to where it basically holds a neutral buoyancy.
Oh, that's easy. I mean, I used to do that with balloons all the time. You put a little piece of tape on them to add some weight or whatever. I mean, that thing, they could easily do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. We do have a break coming up, but we do want to let you know we will be taking your calls. So if you've got some questions, some comment, would love to hear what you think about what's going on. Maybe you have a good answer or an answer to my question. What is the correct response here? Give us a call, 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. We'll be right back. You're listening to Jeranism RAW. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
He's committed to justice for George Floyd and his family. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says he was sickened by the violent protest over the weekend and is saying he will take action if governors do not.
President Trump says he will restore law and order in cities where protests have turned tumultuous and violent over the past several days, urging governors to deploy National Guard troops to help police.
If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
As the president spoke from the Rose Garden, flashbangs could be heard. Police also used tear gas to clear peaceful protesters from nearby Lafayette Park. President Trump then walked through that park to St. John's Episcopal Church, which suffered fire damage during protests this week. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Former Vice President Joe Biden met with black leaders in Delaware today. The presumptive 2020 nominee also held a virtual meeting with big city mayors, telling them hate emerges when you have somebody in power who breathes oxygen into the hate. George Floyd's brother, Terrence, urging the crowd in Minneapolis to protest peacefully.
If I'm not over here wilding out, if I'm not over here blowing up stuff, I'm out. If I'm not over here messing up my community, come on. Then what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all doing nothing. Because that's not going to bring my brother back at all.
Terrence Floyd saying his family is church-going and peaceful and told them to change things by voting and becoming educated. The Minnesota Medical Examiner has classified George Floyd's death as a homicide. America is listening to Fox News.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They
right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism RAW. One thing I wanted to just mention real quick as a public service announcement is today, all day, all over YouTube, I keep finding these videos. They're titled SpaceX Special Event Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon Launch. And what they'll have is Elon Musk talking. This is one here, Elon Musk. And it's some sort of event where they say Bitcoin X event, or earlier today it was BTC giveaway. And it's basically use this QR code or BTC address to join. They give you a Bitcoin address, and you can see right now, this video right now has 10,950 people watching live. This video right here has 12,000 people watching live. Of course, the chat is disabled and the comments are disabled. Why? Because it's a complete and total scam. Do not ever send Bitcoin to any kind of thing that you hear like this. This is the same as a Nigerian prince telling you got to send him $5,000 to get your millions. This one here basically says if you send this amount of Bitcoin, you'll get this much back. Send 0.1 Bitcoin, you'll get 0.2 back. And they have changed all their channel names to SpaceX Live. I checked earlier at the first address, they had already stolen from people $250,000. I haven't checked the other two addresses after those first two videos went down, but you're basically giving away millions of dollars to pathetic scammers. And it's sad that people get sucked into shit like this, and this time they're using SpaceX. Why? Because Elon Musk is like a hero, you know? Everything he's done for humanity, the thing he's going to do now is give you free money.
What's the reason that they're going to double your money?
Zero.
What is it? No, not the what's the explanation? Why would somebody believe, hey, what are you giving the money to? What is the scam? I don't get it. Like, why would you believe that he's going to give you more back? Is that doing something?
Yeah, because it's Elon Musk and he's so great for humanity.
They must believe it's some kind of investment. But, I mean,
it says if you send 0.1 Bitcoin, you'll get 0.2 back. Well, 0.1 Bitcoin worth today about $900. So the minimum investment here is, this is what people think, that you send 900 and you'll get 1,800 back. That will never happen in reality.
Wait, when are you supposed to get it back? Right away or in...
No. But of course, you can go to these addresses and see all they do is just make money. Earlier today, the first address that was up, finally the video went down after 5 hours. This one I'm looking at now has been up for 9 hours. The one that had only been up for 5 hours had $250,000. 25.5 Bitcoins had been taken to this account. And you can't track that. The person just will take that money and send it into their own accounts, and boom, it's done. And when that one got taken down, I was like, oh, good, this is over. Well, then I just searched again. SpaceX special event, Elon Musk. I'll search it now, for instance, and you guys will see that there'll be tons of these videos up. Well, now I don't. Oh, here's the one right here. So, and it's coming from SpaceX Live, SpaceX Falcon 9, and Crew Dragon Launch. If you click on it, of course, there'll be a video. There you go. Now you can see that these are just running all day. Just pointing out to people that you will never, nobody's ever going to give you anything for free like that. It makes no sense. Why would you think, like Dave's saying, how would that even work? Is it supposed to be some pyramid scheme? No, it just basically says, and then it says down at the bottom, if you send 20 plus Bitcoin, you will get 40 Bitcoin back. If you think Bitcoin's at what, $10,000 today? So if you think you're going to send 20 Bitcoin, which is $200,000, and that he's just going to turn around and send you back $400,000, get out. Get out of town.
The evil version of Jason who works for the elites somewhere thinks that's awesomely clever.
It's very clever.
And the sheep will be fleeced.
I could set this up in 10 minutes. All it is a video playing of Elon Musk in the corner talking about, and it's got sound. We listen to it.
There are a few ways to...
So it's just a video of Elon Musk talking, and then they've got a Bitcoin address, and then info on the screen that says, if you send 0.1 Bitcoin. So I could do this in 5 minutes, go live on my channel, put this up, and then people will start sending me Bitcoins. Now, of course, for me, I don't know, that would be pretty obvious of who's doing the scam, right? But these channels are just made for that reason. Most of them don't show subscribe. Oh, this one does. See, this channel has 64.8 thousand subscribers. So maybe they even built their channel up to do this specifically. And if you make $250,000, you just need to have a plan to basically disappear or say your account was hacked. It's just pathetic. It's so sad to see. And this is why, if anything, why I don't promote Bitcoin and tell people about Bitcoin, because I'm afraid that they'll get sucked into stupid shit like this. And there is KYC laws and laws in the United States where people are smart enough not to do shit like this. Like, you can't even, there's no way for you to send that much money to someone, and you wouldn't be dumb enough. If somebody said, send me $10,000 to my PayPal and I'll send you $20,000, who in their right mind would do that? But because it's Bitcoin, idiots think that's how Bitcoin works. Oh, and you put Elon Musk's name to it, and he's the hero of humanity. Look what he brought us. He brought us SpaceX. He brought us Tesla. He loves the community, and therefore he's going to give you $200,000 for nothing. Just send him 20 Bitcoin. He'll send you 40 right back. And then another, just to point out why people can see it's fake too, it says right here at the bottom, you can only participate once. Okay, if you understand Bitcoin, that is ridiculous. I could send from 10 different addresses. That's bait. Yeah, that's just so stupid. It's just bait. It's so stupid. People see that and they're like, oh, I only can participate once. I might as well just send my 2 Bitcoin. I better hurry before it ends. Right, and if you understand Bitcoin, you know that I could have 1,000 to 100,000 addresses. I could just do it myself. I could just send 1 Bitcoin from every address and get all this Bitcoin back. Of course, it's just fake. So just pointing out to people, because things like this is what I used to write for Bitcoin, was Bitcoin scams. And that's why Dave calls me a Bitcoin scammer. Thanks, Dave. But this is what I reported on, Bitcoin safety and security, because people don't get it and they think things like this are real. It's no different than the Nigerian prince. Anyway.
It's Eat Wheaties, man. They're just using Elon to sell the product. That's all. You know, it's Eat Wheaties with the sports ball figure on the box.
Right.
Yeah. And Jason, I don't even know if you remember this, but you and Crow talked about all these kinds of things coming back maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Episode 83, you talked about 5G and Bitcoin and just how it's all going to bring on all this kind of nonsense.
Yeah, because it can't be tracked very well. Or well, I don't know that much about it. Jeran, can any of these cryptocurrencies be tracked at all?
They can, but it's because there's a ledger, right? There's a public ledger. Now, there's like Bitcoin. I mean, there's cryptocurrencies like Monero that is completely anonymous. But Bitcoin itself, there is a ledger where it can be tracked. So, for instance, let's say that, we'll go to this example that Jason and I decide to do this scam, right? So we set up a channel, we have people send us Bitcoin, whatever. Well, then the next day, 2-3 days, what Jason and I would be busy doing is trying to clean that Bitcoin, meaning sending it to as many addresses as possible, meaning sending it from one address to the other, and they're all free. A Bitcoin address is free. So I just create a new address, send it to there, create a new address, send it to there, and what you're trying to do is make the trail tough to follow. Because somebody's going to get a hold of this, and I don't know whether it's the Internet Crimes Division. I think they're called the IC3, right? Internet Crimes. You can go to IC3.com or something. And they're going to try and track this. Now, eventually, you would have to cash out your Bitcoin, right, if that's what you wanted to do. Now, you could buy things, but then again, you would have to buy only digital things, because if you bought something and had it shipped to your house, well, if the IC3 was doing a good job, they would follow the Bitcoin till they saw somebody purchase from that account something. They would go find the company that it was sent from and say, hey, what address was that sent to? Oh, it was sent to this. But if you're smart, these people would also be sending things to people's random addresses. Why? Because it would lead the cops on a goose chase. I mean, I've talked about it a million times before. I had this issue with a guy named Michael Moriarty. He did exactly this, and I tracked him for months, and there was just nothing. I mean, the FBI wasn't going to do anything. Why? Because it was impossible to follow along enough. You would have to have a team of people that would basically follow address to address to address to address, find out where this money is going. So is it anonymous? Yeah, but I mean, it's not as easy as just the person who stole $250,000 can just withdraw $250,000. Because where are you going to get $250,000 cash given to you for Bitcoin? Right. You would have to go to like Coinbase or one of these companies. Well, the problem with those companies is they have KYC laws, meaning they're checking your ID, they know your name, they're attached to your bank card, they're attached to your credit card. So if you ever tried to withdraw $250,000, they'd know right away exactly who it was pulling that money out. But you could transfer to different places, and if you're not in the United States, then it's a little bit easier. And if you only cash out, say, we make $250,000, and every once a month we cash out $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, that would be very difficult for them to ever track.
How about if you bought other digital currencies, like you bought Litecoin or you bought Ethereum or whatever?
Or you bought Monero, right, which is anonymous. That's exactly what they'll do. They'll spend their time doing that, and it will take a lot of work, because any kind of investigator will be able to track that, follow it through 3, 4, 5 transactions. But if you spent an entire 24 hours where you just, and again, if you made $250,000, it'd be worth your time to sit there and send it all over the place. Because basically then you've got, rather than one address the police need to look at, you've got 50 all of a sudden. Now they've got to track those 50. And if you send those 50 to 50 more addresses, now you've got a ton of tracking that they have to do. And that's why Bitcoin is so popular for scammers. And then also, there's a lot of sites that have been taken over and then given ransom notes, right? Basically, send us 50 Bitcoin or we're not going to, open your site back up to the public or whatever. And it's a good way for them to get that money. Now, cashing it out, like I said, that's the problem. It's not as easy as you think. But like Jason said, you can just start trading different currencies using some of these sites that are like local Bitcoin and other ones that you may not need to know your identity. And you can get away with a lot. Now, like I said, the only problem is you can't cash out $250,000. It's not that easy. You can't, we made $250,000 in Bitcoin. Let's go trade it for cash. Well, where are you going to do that? Can't do it. So,
but you probably wouldn't need to. You would just live off of it, I would assume.
Yep, exactly. And you make little purchases here and you send 50 here. And then again, the other thing that you would do is you would go online and you would find people's accounts. So for instance, let's say that I know Jason's Bitcoin address, which would be easy to find if Jason took Bitcoin donations. Well, if I stole $250,000, a very smart thing for me to do would be to send $500 to Jason's account. Why? Because then Jason's going to spend that Bitcoin. Or he might even wonder, where did I get this from? Why did I get this? Now I've got $500 in Bitcoin. You go spend that. If the Internet Crimes Commission is following the addresses, they're going to go immediately to Jason, knock on his door and say, hey, we know it's you, and you're going to have to prove, no, I didn't know where this money came from. It becomes a nightmare for those involved, and that's why I don't even think they investigate it. Now, again, I don't want to tell people that because I don't want them to start trying to scam people. I mean, it's the worst thing you can possibly do is scam people. I hate scammers more than anything.
Who's the best Bitcoin scammer in this group?
Me, by far, because I just told everybody how to do it.
Yeah.
But, it's a very pathetic thing to do, and there's ways you can do it with Bitcoin. There's ways you can do it. So it's a little scary. Just public service announcement. Like I said, never send money to any kind of person that says, I will do this or that and I will pay you more than you sent me. I mean, it doesn't happen with cash. Have you ever had somebody walk by your house and say, hey, throw me a $50 bill, I'll throw you 100?
It sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? And it really is kind of the same thing.
Scott 6794 says, I can't wait for works without electricity coin.
Yeah, it's another thing. I don't know when that's coming.
That is the scariest part of Bitcoin for me.
That and whether or not the government can just call it illegal tomorrow. Right? I mean, they can shut down the internet.
Like the gold thing in the 30s, right?
Right, and then they say turn it all into us, right? So there could be a new thing. Bitcoin's illegal. Send it to this address if you're caught holding or spending Bitcoin. So that's why Monero's great. And, people can look into that all they want. But that is a untraceable, untrackable coin, which would be a smart move. I hear a lot of people talking about it. Dan Tran said, thanks for your info. I like how you report or do your homework for facts. Well, some of it's just common sense. That's why it's an easy channel to run. It's just common sense. But please don't ever send your money to anybody like that.
Hey, did you guys watch the docking? That was today, I believe, right? The ISS docking?
Yesterday, maybe.
So first, when it connected, didn't it look like a big moon bounce toy attaching? I mean, I don't know why they would need to do that. It had this big gap, and it bounced, and it looked like a blow-up. It looked like a blow-up toy.
Don't you think it's CGI?
I would think it is, but go watch it. When the actual touchdown, when it touched, because it didn't even look, like it was warped. It just looked like a blow-up toy. And then when they came in, did you see the guy had a little issue with his wire? I don't know. I don't think that's on purpose, but I don't know. And did you see the dots that were on their shirts? There was like little red and blue laser dots.
Those are broken pixels, Dave.
Is that what that is from the gamma rays?
That's what I used to be told all the time. That the rays coming through damage the cameras. They have broken pixels, and so they become dots on the screen, and you'll always see those from space cameras.
Okay.
That's what I'm told. All right, should we try the phones? Anybody else have anything? Got a lot of calls here. 213-233-3998. Let's go to Dottie because Dottie had a Flat Earth meetup in the middle of being told that she had to go home via text message. Dottie, did everything go okay, or did you get attacked with paint gun bullets?
You know, the funniest thing is that I woke up to a thunderstorm and was going to cancel. And because I was planning for a super sunny day at the beach. It's been crazy sunny every single weekend leading up until now. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's going to be sunny then too. And no, I wake up to a thunderstorm and I'm just like, oh my God, how do I let people know that I'm going to cancel it? Because if it was sunny, I was just going to sit out on the beach with my big umbrella and enjoy the sunny day. But with a thunderstorm, I'm like, shoot, I don't know how to get around that. But Ted said that we should just go ahead with it, and we did, and we managed to get into the covered pavilion area, which had caution tape all around it. But that was actually how people identified our group. They're like, oh, if you guys are in the caution tape not wearing a mask, this must be where I need to be. And yeah, it was amazing. But it was hilarious because Seattle was just starting their riots that day, and we're just out on the beach, thunderstorm going on, and I swear it was one of the best times ever. I've missed my Flat Earth friends so much, and it was such a breath of fresh air to just be around these people, and nobody was scared. We were all standing close to each other. We all got to hug. Nobody wore a mask, and it was just amazing. As soon as people would step into the pavilion, you could feel that they were at a higher vibration than the couple of people in the park who were wearing masks and giving us weird looks oh, what are those people doing? And no, it was the best, just the best time ever. And I mean, if you want to feel better, seriously, just have a Flat Earth meetup, because you can't be sad after it. And so it was a great time, really awesome.
Nice work.
Glad you had it, and glad you had a good turnout. Anything else you wanted to comment on tonight? Hope you're okay. Hope you're not looting Target.
No, the funniest part, my phone keeps letting me know that Seattle has a curfew of 6 p.m. And do you think that Amazon would be courteous enough to give us small routes to get us all off the road by 6 p.m.? Oh, no. I still have 35 stops left at, after 7 or whatever. And it's thanks for caring about our safety, I guess. I don't know. I'm north of the city right now, so I'm not dealing with the looters, but it just makes no sense at all. Oh yeah, you're not allowed to be on the street. Oh, unless you deliver for Amazon, then we don't give a shit about you guys. Deliver that one stupid envelope, please.
Hey, we don't pay Prime for not getting deliveries. Get back out there, Dottie.
Absolutely.
I know, exactly. 2-day Prime has already turned into 4-day Prime if you're really lucky, but just pretty much count on your stuff in a month, maybe. And yeah, 2-day Prime is gone. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I'm super happy that I had my meetup. We had 15 people there, and yeah, it was really great. Just awesome. So. All
right, thanks for the call. Keep up the great work. Talk to you again soon. Let's go to 937. You're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this?
Hi, this is GSD Puppies in Ohio. How are you?
What's up, puppies?
Yes, everybody loves puppies.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jeran and David and Jason and Rose and Matt and everybody really love your show. You guys are doing a great job. The lounge is awesome. It was really exciting what you guys talked about on the Mandela effect.
Thanks, yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yes, I thought that was all really good stuff on there. Hey, I think I have kind of a partial answer to one of your questions, but first I just wanted to throw out real quick, did anybody hear about the Umama, or however you pronounce it, the big frozen 900-foot cigar-shaped floating rock thing?
Floating rock
made a
sounds
discovery.
like NASA.
Exactly, yeah. And that's been in the fake science news, and they're saying that the big discovery is they now think it's hydrogen ice. That just came out a couple days ago.
Oh, you're talking about.
And of course, how can you have?
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's like I thought you can't have moisture in a vacuum that it's going to boil. So I don't even understand how you have a frozen ice in fake outer space. But anyway, Jeran, kind of you were talking about this thing, and I think Austin, from Wits It Gets It, kind of hit on the head pretty good that Trump would kind of step in and be the savior of this thing. And I really like the way Rush Limbaugh talks about the left versus the right, where it's not really an axis. It's more of a circle. It's when you go to either extreme, they eventually kind of meet. So in this situation, after the entire public has seen all reason go out the window, and it's obvious that people are demanding the government step in, Trump makes the declaration, right?
Right.
Step in. And we're going to send the military and da-da-da-da-da-da. And so now we get the police state that we thought we were going to have with COVID, but now they're going to be deployed. And if they stay out there long enough, I don't know, maybe they'll enforce the vaccination. It's kind of interesting. But when you look at it, really the left and the right, they both get their way since they all work for the same New World Order bosses.
Right.
Because the left, we know they like a police state like China, North Korea, but yet the reasonable people are like, yeah, Trump, he's going to, lock down and shut this thing down and military police state. And so it's kind of confusing. Is it a savior? Are we losing our rights?
It's confusing. You're right. Now people have asked, right? People are asking for exactly what they've wanted to place in place this whole time. Yeah, and I think maybe you guys mentioned this on one of your shows. I kind of forget. I know I've been talking about it with friends at work, but Dr. Fauci. I mean, that's all you need to know is everything's in a name, right? Fau, F-A-U. It's like the word F-A-U-X, like faux fa, fake, Fauci, fake Chinese. Right there's the scam. It's a fake Chinese scam coming from Fauci, who knew about it, predicted it, worked with Bill Gates, blah, blah, blah. And another interpretation of Fauci is bad. It's bad energy. It's bad chi. Right. So it's kind of interesting how all these things, they actually do tie in together. And then my last comment, and I wanted to see what your thoughts were, regarding what a lot of people in the right news, whether it's Fox or someplace else like this, whatever, they're saying, well, no, all these protesters, the legitimate ones, going back to the COVID now, like in Michigan, they shouldn't protest and have their guns. And I know, Jeran, you're a Second Amendment right person, and so am I. And it's like, well, no, because that's carrying it too far, and you're going to maybe risk, some action that's going to hurt our rights and blah, blah, blah. And I think just the opposite is true. It's kind of like how the deep state does their version, which is riots and bricks and fires, and it's this desensitization where they traumatize you with it. But if the people with Second Amendment rights wouldn't go out there and demonstrate, but they're doing it peacefully with their guns, if they only did it 1 out of 50 times, then the first time they came out with their long guns, it would be such shock and awe. The public would scream and be scared. They'd call the National Guard, then they'd get wiped out. And then, you have to go out there and protest with your guns. You have to, because that way you counteract what they're doing. We have to desensitize them, the dumb, sleepy public, and make it okay. Absolutely. I agree with you. I think that is important, and it's to peacefully protest unless otherwise needed. Exactly. Right? So going out with your guns is a peaceful protest. Yelling and screaming is peaceful protest. Looting and burning things is not. Yeah. But again, I think
felonies and hurting people is the direct opposite, but yet somehow they're okay.
Right. That's why the great thing about the Second Amendment was we'd have so much less crime because of the threat of there being anybody that possibly has a gun. Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks for your call. Appreciate it. Let's, oops. Do we have time to take another call? 214, you're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this?
Jeran, it's Alex Stein from Conspiracy Castle. I want to start off by saying, dude, thank you so much for sharing my video. I had multiple people say you sent them there, and so that means the world to me. And I want to tell you, people have said this to you before, and it's kind of embarrassing, But, dude, almost every night, I love to listen to your voice. I probably fall asleep to your voice.
He loves
I love
that.
your delivery. I'm serious. Jeran, it's not even, I mean, I like your content, obviously, but I'm just saying, your delivery is just so, I used to listen to Howard Stern, Eric the actor, Eric the midget clips for years. And then when I started hearing you, Jeran, you were my lullaby, my friend. You put me to sleep.
Jeran, you put him right to sleep.
You and my cat.
That's it. All right, stay right.
In a good way, Jeran.
Stay there. We'll talk to you right after. Don't go anywhere.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. This is Uncle Walt from the Ironworks. Josh, Corey, and I have chosen to look at life with no fear. No fear of the unknown. No fear of questions about the supposedly well-known. No fear of ridicule for thinking outside the familiar fool's lines. No fear of the boot on the neck of those refusing the party line. No fear of taking on those so convinced of their beliefs they would sooner drink the Kool-Aid than believe they've been fools made. In this world filled with me too, cattle think, can truth's protective layers be peeled back to show the tender, juicy pink? Are we all just grist for the mill? Souls sold against our will, or is that just how it feels? When you're filled to the rim with TV so fear-filled and grim, break clear of the fear. Right here, Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 a.m. on TFR. Josh and I and you will hammer out the impurities of technology-driven groupthink, fold in a dash of logic, and quench it all with a bit of absurdity. The Ironworks. Break clear of the fear.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism RAW. We got another half hour left. We'll go back real quick to Alex, because Alex is the creator of the channel Conspiracy Castle. He's starting to do some streams all around truth, so check him out. He's been on kind of a roll lately. But Alex, tell people real quick why you have a book of L. Ron Hubbard on your desk. Many of the very cautious,
so
quite frightened.
Well, it's funny because if I wasn't going to use the same tools that the evil people are using against me and mocking L. Ron Hubbard, people aren't going to get my sense of humor. It's like, I don't worship L. Ron Hubbard. The guy's a total freak. Scientology is the biggest joke in the world, but people don't even realize this guy was one of the creators of NASA with Jack Parsons. Like, people don't get the connection to L. Ron Hubbard and how he's one of the most evil people in the world and his connection to Aleister Crowley. So for me to put that there, it's ironic. It's satire. And the other book is Andy Kaufman, Life in the Funhouse, because I love Andy Kaufman, and then the Bible. But people think that I'm some Scientology show or something. That's absolutely insane.
All right, well, that's
so. What was your okay? Hey, but let me say this. So when you see the book, why does that make me a shill automatically? Like, what is your first opinion that I love L. Ron Hubbard or something?
Well, I'm certainly not one of those cautious people. I listen to what you say, and I'm just not afraid of channels. So I'm never afraid. I'm like, oh, what's this guy? I gotta think about what's being sent to me, because I can listen to what you say, take the good and leave the bad. But yeah, somebody on my show, I think it was maybe it was Rodrigo, who said, oh, that's a big sign for me that. But we knew that you're not pushing L. Ron Hubbard. It's the same thing with Conspiracy Castle 33, right?
Yeah, of course. See that? Like, I'm a Russian vid. When I first found him, I was just like, okay, I got to start screaming from the rooftop, because Jeran, you always encourage people to do videos, and I always listen to that, but like, you're pretty good quality. But in no offense to Russian vids, like, he's just all about content, and that's what like encouraged me. Is like, it doesn't matter about the quality that I put out as long as I'm putting out good content and saying, meaningful stuff that means something to me, like the mother effer. I don't know if you know black people. I hate to get serious, but black people have been being manipulated for so long. People don't realize the left wing and the right wing are on the same bird. That's what we don't get as society. We don't realize we're all on the same ship, the same theoretical slave ship with the same slave masters, whether it's white or black. And I just feel like these black people are being militarized, just like after 9/11, when they militarized our people and sent them to Iraq with no clear agenda. These people that are protesting are theoretically fighting a war for open society that they don't even know the agenda to. They're just being emotionally triggered by watching snuff films from George Soros. So it just scares me, the world we're in. And my dad has, I said this in the first video, stage 2 kidney disease, and we are afraid to go to the hospital, like literally, because I can't go in there with him. And I'm not trying to get a sympathy story. I'm just saying it pushed me over the edge. What's going on with this COVID scam? And then you, and then RV, and then seeing all the occulted things like Hillary and Moloch, it would be impossible not to know that there are evil figures that rule the world. And I just think it's hard, because it alienates me from a lot of my friends and family, because they're like, Alex, why do you talk about how the devil influences these powerful people? It really makes you sound like a freak, but I'm off. They push me over the edge, to say the least.
Well, welcome to the team, my friend. It'd be fun to listen to this stuff.
Well, and I want to say on my video, I haven't, flat smacked the world, but I have a really weird kind of flat smacking story. I didn't like get into flat Earth until, I guess I'd say, after like the Donald Trump election. I heard about the theory and stuff, but I didn't really get into it as much until I realized how fake the news was when they said Hillary had a 99% chance to win the election on the day of the election, and they were wrong. I mean, the morning of, they said she was going to win 99%, and that like opened my eyes to how flat Earth could be possible. I knew the moon landing was fake, but somebody told me as the sequel of Austin Powers, I think it was Goldmember. I remember I was with friends sitting in a movie theater, and somebody was behind us, like an empty movie theater. It's like the middle of the day, and some guy, the Paramount thing came on, and some guy's like, that's not what the world is. And we were like, I think we were like freshmen. I mean, I was like 8th grade. I was young, but I was smart enough. We were like, dude, you're a psycho. And then we would go off the wall, and he's like, no, there's a militarized zone, and they, he described the ice wall in Antarctica, and I thought the guy was such a freak. But he pre-programmed me, because when I first started hearing about flat Earth, it was like a duck to freaking water, because when you tell me that there's gas pressure next to a vacuum without a barrier, you just lose me. That's all I need to know. You don't have to take a laser anywhere. You don't have to do a gyroscope test. All you got to do is tell me, how does a rocket ship shoot out, but the gas doesn't. I mean, I just don't understand. I'd love to hear Neil deGrasse Tyson. How do they explain that, Dave? How do they explain that, Jeran?
Where did you get your education? Where did you get your PhD? Exactly.
I got it through school of Dave Weiss in engineering, the Dave Weiss School of Engineering and YouTube.
Alex, we got some more calls, but you know what? You have to be on the show. You talk so much that you would be a great guest where I'll just have you and you can just bring up all this stuff. So let's talk again soon, but keep up the good work on your channel, huh?
For sure. Thank you again for the help, guys. I really, really do listen to you, and I'm a diehard fan. That's no BS. You guys are the best. Peace.
Listen to somebody else when you go to sleep, please. Okay. Another super chat from Zayla Raiden who says, sorry, Jeran, you put me to sleep as well. Great. This is fantastic stuff. Keep up the great work. Shout out to Conspiracy Castle. Doing more than my usual. I got good tips this week. Good. Glad to hear that. Sorry I haven't sent in a while. Love all. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Paige was supposed to bring me up a cup of tea, and she didn't, so I went down during the last break. She's got the show streaming on the big TV. She's passed out.
What? That must have been when somebody else was talking.
I don't think so.
It was Rose. Rose did it. Rose's voice is just, I don't know. Rose
I have a question before we get back on.
Yes, go ahead.
And maybe David can lend to this. I just watched the docking of the Dragon capsule and all that.
You mean the balloon docking of the bouncy bounce?
The bouncy bounce. But maybe you'd be able to lend something here, David. What is the power requirements of the ISS? And is all of its power generated by solar?
Yeah, so the power is generated by the solar panels, which is absolutely ridiculous. I was also noticing during the press conference up there, they have amazing lighting. I mean, the lighting is coming from every direction. It's so well lit up there. The computers and the lights alone would use more power than those solar panels could make. But they have machinery, they have air, they have air conditioning and heat. I mean, there's a 600-degree swing in temperature every 45 minutes.
Is there any way we could find out within even a 50% margin of error just what the power requirements would be and what the size of the panels would be? Or do they have magic solar panels that can do much better than anyone else?
Solar panels in space work 1,000 times better than solar panels not in space. Prove me wrong.
Is that the claim?
They don't claim anything. They claim that the solar panels work. Therefore, they have to work better than solar panels here on Earth.
Well, technically they would if there was nothing blocking it, but how much better would they be?
Enough to power the whole station. Prove me wrong.
Apparently.
Well, David, they have to have good lighting up there because you have to have really good lighting for green screens.
As we noticed the other day, I was having a little glitch off my right shoulder because the lighting wasn't so good. That's exactly what I was thinking today.
Well, yeah, I could tell you just from a filmmaker standpoint, because I've looked at a lot of this stuff. To get anything to work well with a camera, you absolutely must have the best Christmas lighting. And it has to be consistent. It cannot be hotter in one side than the other because it will absolutely throw stuff off.
Those solar panels are thin film, which are lower wattage per square foot. And they were put up, how many years ago did they go up? But if we took the highest wattage per square foot panels, conventional panels, highest wattage, and and use that number for the amount of power that they'd be generating, you would have to multiply it times 500 to give them the power that they needed. I mean, I'm
glad you thought about this, David, because I thought you might have.
Yeah, I just
with solar too.
Can you get Jeran? Is there any information on how many solar panels or how many square feet of solar panels they have up there? I don't think they give us that information.
I'm sure you could find out how big they are, but I don't know if they would ever. Would that many solar panels be able to provide that much power?
Absolutely not.
Do you think I could get a NASA person to tell me that if I called and said, "Hey, I'm writing a science article. What is the actual power requirements of the ISS so I can explain it to my listeners?"
Yeah, good luck with that. There's no way. And also the grounding, the changing in temperatures. When panels get hot, they produce less electricity, and when they're cold, they do better down to a certain point.
It's called electronics, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's so many things wrong with it. It's unbelievable.
Duly noted. Thank you. I will stop interrupting for the phone calls now, but that's something that popped in my head when I saw big bright lights coming on, and just the thought came to me, is like, I've seen a lot of stuff on this space station, and that's a lot of stuff that needs to be powered. But anyway,
heating and cooling alone would be ridiculous.
So many. Yeah, I mean that's the.
That's what I was thinking of, the recycling of the air, the whatever their HVAC system, space system is, all that. I was just like that would be
toilet. Don't forget the
which
toilet.
has to run 24/7, mind you. Like you don't. Oh, I'm a little hot right now. I think I'll shut it off. No, you're in outer space, hypothetically. That doesn't work that way.
What about all the radiation that would be coming through all the windows?
That's why they have those screens down. That's why the windows always have the curtains down.
When you don't need it to. Like every piece of film that would go into space that should be getting bombarded by cosmic radiation, yet doesn't seem to be bothered by it at all. But it does here on Earth.
Yeah, it's insanity. Let's go 318. You're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this? 318.
Hey, this is Preston.
What's up, Preston?
Preston from the other LA. How you doing?
What's going on?
Hey, so my particular job, I get to see a lot of people pull up in their cars by themselves with wearing a mask, and it's really starting to get to me. And today I saw an old man pull up by himself in his car wearing a mask, and he pulled down his mask to take a drag of his cigarette, and I about lost it. And I don't know if it bothers you, but it does bother me. So my question is about what is going on in current times. It's my question is about 5G, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
On the recent, one of the recent Globebusters videos, streams, it was strongly talked about the dangers of 5G and how it could hurt you. So basically, I kind of look at 5G as kind of like doctors. People go to doctors, and if doctors healed every patient that they saw, obviously doctors would be out of business. And my question is, why would telecom companies implement a system that could potentially make them lose customers for their services?
Did anybody understand the question? So
I didn't get the question.
Yeah, I didn't get it quite. So
basically, the ones rolling out 5G, right? We're being told dangers of 5G. There was a recent video on Globebusters.
Gotcha.
Straight up, one of the comments was 5G is intended to kill you, right? And so basically I'm asking, why would telecom companies roll out a system that could potentially take out paying customers from their services?
Gotcha. It's a very good question. I think that it's more, I don't think it's out to kill you, and I don't know if somebody exactly said that, but it is damaging to your health. There's more than a ton of papers coming out and saying that, but I think it's the same thing. It's like doctors are not in the business of killing you. Doctors are in the business of keeping you sick, right? So if you're sick, you still are paying for internet. You're still paying for cell phones. So I don't think they have a problem if you're sick and paying for cell phones.
I think the idea behind it is that it's such a high frequency that it can be tuned to do what they want it to do. So let's say, and plus it could be little by little. It's like, yes, the general system is going to run really fast so you can watch the new crappy Star Wars movie in 4K walking down the street. That's the joke I always make, because that's what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that a certain section, they can't all of a sudden crank it up and aim it at something to do something more nefarious.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Real quickly, where could I find evidence showing that 5G is dangerous? Besides
Lena Pooh, Lena's fabulousfrequencies.com. Rose, did I get that right?
Wait, and there's how many papers?
Yes.
How many papers is it? Peer-reviewed papers?
There's a
ton.
ton.
That link?
I don't have the link because Globebusters, that video got taken down. I'll try and find it and send it in the chat before the end of the show. I got to look back in the Globebusters chat.
Yeah, but I'd also like to recommend Crow 777 Radio episodes 184 and episode 217.
There's my girl.
Thank you. Awesome. All right, thank you, Preston. Appreciate the call. Let's go to 831. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? 831. What's up? We can hear you. Go ahead.
Wow, I actually wasn't planning on calling in. I was just listening in as a curious bystander, but really appreciate all the information, and it's totally refreshing to hear something that kind of resonates with me. So thank you guys.
Awesome, man. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thank you.
631. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Make sure you pull your mask down while you're smoking that cigarette.
Hello?
Hello, you're on.
Hey, sorry, there is always a little delay when I call you. I just, so I live in America now, but my family is still in Italy, and I know two people with coronavirus that are both good carriers. What are the chances? It's like my aunt, she's 80 years old. The doctor told her, oh, you have coronavirus. She never had the fever. She never had the cough. She never had sore throat. So they had to put it like in exile in a hotel by herself, an 80 years old lady. And they told her that her son also had coronavirus, but they never had a symptom. It's like, so the only two people that I knew had coronavirus, they never had the symptom. It's like, it's ridiculous.
The thing is, what they're calling coronavirus is there's people die from different things all over the place, whether it's radiation, whether it's toxins, whether it's cancer, whatever it is. The tests that they give, the coronavirus test, will test positive in many of those people. So people are dying like they always do, and they're just calling it corona this time.
Oh,
that's how they get away with it.
Absolutely. They tell everybody, all of a sudden there is no more cancer, there is no more heart attack, there is no more kidney disease, there is no more diabetes. Everybody's like dying for coronavirus, and they think I'm crazy. It's like, I don't know. My parents in Italy, they were freaking out. But today my father is like, he's getting so upset. He's like, I think this is all bullshit. They're scamming us. I'm like, Dad, I was telling you for the past 4 months. So it's like, it's kind of like, I was very happy that my dad, like today was like, finally woke up a little bit from this spell that they put on us. So, and all of you guys do a great job. I really appreciate everything that you do.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much. And Bob just posted that the video GGGGG is still up. So I posted that link in the chat, and I'm also going to post a link to a Google Drive and you just have to go to, so whoever that caller was, Preston, I think, go to the Jeranism Show right now on YouTube, and I just dropped the Google Drive. And I will also do it on DLive in case you're watching there, and both will be in the show description. So people who are wondering how to get the information on 5G.
The Google Drive is like 700 or 1,000 peer-reviewed papers on the dangers of wireless radiation. I forget the number, but it's a big number.
Okay, let me get back to the right screen. Sorry, I was sending that everywhere, and we've got more calls. How about 707? You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
707, did you say?
Yep, you're on.
All right. Hey, my name's Greg from Northern California, just North Bay of the Bay Area, Sonoma County. Big fans of you guys. I'm new to Flat Earth. Last year was kind of my first year, early last year, and my question is, one of the highlights of the year for me was going to the conference in Dallas, and I appreciate all your guys' presentations there. So I know they were about ready to announce a new conference just before the COVID hit for Vegas in October. I know that probably came to a screeching halt, but is there any possibility of getting another conference together since flat earthers aren't too concerned about the virus?
Right. Thanks for the call. Dave, you have an answer for that? I appreciate your call and glad that you were able to make it out there. Dave, what's the update?
On the conference? I missed the question.
Yeah, he was saying that he was there last year and he was wondering if we're going to do one this year.
The idea was to do it in Vegas. It was being planned, and then the COVID thing hit, and Vegas is closed right now, and the people I'm talking to there say they don't go more than 10 feet away from their weapons. So I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, we may try and do something online, but stay tuned here. We'll let you know, but as of right now, I haven't heard anything for sure about what's going on. Let's go to 303. I don't think it's Bob, but it might be. You're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this?
Hey, Jeranism. This is Algorithm from your chat. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for calling in.
Good. Yeah, sure. Love everybody who's on here. You asked earlier about what the proper response is to what's going on.
I'd love to hear it.
I would say do nothing until you have to do something to protect yourself and your family. Keep your emotions out of it. Try to stick to logic, reason, and what's actually going on around you. I live on the outskirts of Denver, and our downtown area is, yes, having some troubles, but the vast majority of Denver is just fine. And so for people who are concerned about what's going on out there, go look around. Go see what's going on. It's not nearly as dramatic as the media is making it out to be.
That's another thing that I think is true. That I'm sure it seems a lot bigger than it is. But I have to kind of agree with what you're saying. I mean, I'm a big fan of peaceful protesting, but if you get out there and it's not peaceful, whether it's agent provocateurs or whoever's causing that, then you're putting yourself at risk. And, I believe you don't hurt private property. I don't want anybody by my house and destroying my windows. Go ahead and try it.
Right. And you wouldn't do that to somebody else.
Never. No, that's the ultimate judgment of what, if you owned a business, that's the last thing you'd want is somebody coming and just tearing your business, lighting it on fire. We were talking about all these businesses and all these people that have lost everything because of Corona. It's the same thing. It's now we have to talk about people losing their businesses over protests. So you're not doing anybody any justice there.
Keep up the good work, you guys. You're all fantastic, and I think you're helping a lot of people with what you do. So take good care.
Thank you so much, Algorithm.
We haven't heard enough from you, Rose. I want to hear some more from you.
Oh, well, I did have a very nice little panel last night with Karen B. and Beth Martins and Cameron Odell and the Truth Seeker 69, Jen Santel. Oh my gosh, am I forgetting anybody? Me.
You also
Patricia Steer was supposed to be there, but it was really fun, and we're going to do it in 2 weeks on Karen B's channel. And then today, I had a nice chat with Brian Stabley, part 2 of our Mandela Effect. And what else is going on? Oh, yeah. David made a meme making fun of me because he thinks that the hole in what will be my bathroom looks like garbage.
and Brian's also doing a stream right after this show. I heard him talk about on your show. Yes. So make sure people know that starting at, I thought he said 9:15. Maybe that's I think it's 15 minutes, right?
11:15 Eastern.
Okay, good. Yeah. So in 15 minutes after the show on his channel, and he has a guest, the girl that was on with you guys at the end, right?
I wasn't. I don't know.
I think he's going live with the girl that was on your show at the end.
Okay, sweet. Reality Sliders, Mandela Affected. Ashley, she's awesome. I love her.
Yeah, so lots of stuff to still watch. Thank you very much, Skeptic936, for the super chat. Super appreciate that. I don't think I'm going to take any more calls. There is some people waiting, but usually when I take them this late in the show, it turns out bad and they stay on the line.
Yeah, I haven't answered your question, though, dude.
Yes, tell me. I want to hear it.
I think that knowledge is the way to move forward. That is the answer. At first, you want to say things like, oh, love is the answer, come together, which is true. We all should come together. But I think that knowledge is the first step to creating order. There's no way, like during the commercials, there was someone saying something like, oh, Trump is going to restore order and law. And you can't do that involuntarily. That's just slavery and submission. But to have true order comes out of love. And through that love, we have knowledge.
I totally agree. I think that's perfect. I think we need to have that internal control And the way you have that is by knowledge, is by doing your own research, understanding what's going on, not believing what the media is telling you, and obviously looking at things yourself. Dave, you have any advice for people in these troubling times, you know?
Just don't take things, don't look at the negative side. Try to see the positive side. Do what you can to wake up your friends. And if they're in the class that cannot see, don't bother trying. Just, try to surround yourself with positive people like we have here.
There you go. Jason, you get the final word tonight. What can you tell people?
Please stay higher minded, folks, and be kind to one another, because only you can make your own decisions and how you affect others.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech,